Guys, welcome to this video. Thanks so much for tuning in and sharing in this now moment. Welcome to Wacky Wednesday. My t-shirt. How's everybody doing? How are the energies working out for you? If you haven't seen these videos, welcome back if you have. I don't know if I already said that. My intention is always the highest levels of love, light, and union and communion. I'm saying this because I just did a video where I read out loud the Andrew Bartz's revocation. I posted it earlier today. So if that's something you feel guided to watch, I invite you to listen to that or just check out his webpage on your own. By the time Wednesday rolls around for me, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's Wednesday? No wonder why I feel the way that I feel. I feel like Wednesdays are always a little crazier for me energetically than any other day of the week. I'm sure there's an astrological reason for that, but either way, I've got my t-shirt with the unicorn being sucked up into the spaceship that my lovely blood sister got me. Mystery solved. It's one of my favorite shirts. So what do? By the time Wednesday rolls around, I like to just kind of go back to being a kid. It helps me feel like I can let go and not be so serious. So I try to just like throw on some goofy clothes, do some goofy things, make sure I get outside and get barefoot if I can. It's probably gonna rain, so I'll dance a little bit in the rain, which I don't do every day. I mean, I go outside every day and ground somewhat, but you know what I mean. You know, do some fun nail polish, I don't know. Do something that is reminding me, get goofy, play with it. I'm already goofy, but you know what I mean. So wow, these energies, I always say that, especially come Wednesday. I want to talk a little bit in this video about some of our expanding gifts. I want to talk a little bit about what that's looked like for me. I always like to share if I've had common themes when I've been working with other humans in session, what's come through. Because if I tend to see, you know, a common similarity between 5 different people that I've worked with, starseeds, light workers, channelers, healers, then I want to share it because that means that they're not the only ones going through it. And the funny thing about that is what I've been learning more and more is that there's a lot of people that are just reaching out to work together so that we can work together, so that we can talk about what's going on in our realities and essentially make, not just make sense of it, but I find that right now, the common theme when I'm working with others is validation. I get it. I reached out to my dear sister and friend Candace the other day for a little validation on a video I had done, and I'm going to explain why in just a moment. Just because we bounce things off of each other, we have a lot of similarities. And so sometimes we may not have that person in our life. So if you feel guided to go reach out to another healer or light worker for a session because you feel like what you're listening, what they're offering you resonates, that can be very powerful for all of us right now. I find myself really enjoying acupuncture lately. And when I work in whatever that might be, it doesn't have to be, you know, necessarily, you might be interested in the gene keys. You might be interested in tarot cards. You might go, I'm going to try this. It's Wacky Wednesday. This is kind of fun. I've always wanted to try this out. So everybody's got their own gifts, right? That they're utilizing to assist others on this journey. And part of what I like to do in these videos is to share my journey because there's a lot of healers and light workers, and I say healers and light workers. We're all healers, we're all light workers, we're all empaths. We can all be channels, but some of us have chosen that as our path. We've chosen to consciously operate as that so we can assist others on their journey. And some of us are just in the process of healing, and that's the journey that we're in right now, or the journey that we've chosen, is to find expansion and expression through working with other channels and healers and light workers. Some people are awakening those gifts. So I want to first start off by saying a lot of synchronicities lately, a lot of deja vu, a lot of physical upgrades. Once again, that solar plexus, oof, So I've been noticing when I've been doing sessions that some people are needing a little help around this area. So I'm going to do a video maybe today, maybe tomorrow for solar plexus, and we'll see what else comes through, because oftentimes when I first started working with people, they'd say, I think I have solar plexus issues. I'd like to work on that. And that may be their intention in a session. But what I've noticed is that often everything's connected. So it's not just about doing light language or energy work to clear and move that energy out of the solar plexus, although that can help. Whew, that was fun. Sometimes it's about having a conversation, or for me, asking the right questions in order to move the energy out that way. So sometimes we think that, okay, I'm really blocked, my chakras are all spun out of order, I'm not, so we go and we think that's what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get Reiki. But we don't necessarily understand that sometimes it does involve having a conversation about it. Especially if you're having a Reiki session, it's so valuable sometimes to talk about what you felt, what you saw, what you didn't feel, what you didn't see. And for the facilitator of that Reiki session, this is only from my perspective. Some Reiki healers feel the opposite. They feel like they don't need to talk about it because it's your journey, and they don't want to take away from whatever happened, because whatever's happening might be going on beyond what we think is happening. And yes, that is 100%. However, it's also 100% that sometimes there's a little bit more that's helpful to have in a session. So sometimes I'll be guided in session to ask certain questions, and other times I will want to have a conversation about something, but then my throat constricts and I realize that it's me saying, let's wait on that one. They're not ready to hear that information yet. And while some of us are going, give it to me, I'm ready, bring it on. Careful what you ask for. Be full of care for yourself, for your body when you're asking for something. Because I am one of those. I am like, bring it. I'm ready. I want it all now. Blast me with it. And then I'm down for a week, right? My guidance team is like, all right, here you go. Boof. And then I'm knocked off my feet going, what hit me? Oh yeah, that's right. I asked for this. Sometimes we don't realize that that's what's going on. And sometimes we think what we need is a chakra upgrade, when really we just need to relax and sit outside and lay on the grass. Drink a smoothie, have some hot tea, have some cold tea, whatever it might be. The body. So the other thing that I've been noticing is I did a video that I am posting tomorrow where I'm standing behind my whiteboard talking about, and I didn't do a great job of kind of integrating my previous video in this video, and it doesn't matter. I'm letting go of the need to judge myself based around how presentable I made this video. I say this out loud because sometimes people think that when, I don't know how to say this. Let me think about this. Let me just feel into this for a moment. I got a little light language coming through. So let's play with that a little bit. Is this ancestral language that perhaps was part of Mother Earth at one time? Yes. There's this common idea that light language has to be galactic. Not from my perspective, at least. So what I'm being guided to talk a little bit about is the closeness and the merge. So we've been talking a lot in the Lightworker community about this merge and converge and this compression of timelines. But I reach out to my sisters and brothers still too, to get, what I've been seeing is this common theme in session is validation. A lot of, and I like to share if I have, 5 or 6 sessions and people are kind of having the same things going on or the same questions, I like to share it with you guys because it's helpful for everyone. So thank you, everybody who has worked with me. You've helped and assisted everything I've had to share with everybody else who's sharing in this energy exchange. So thank you. And that's how we work together. That's how this operates. One of the themes that's been is validation. It's just, Carrie, I knew this, but I needed to hear it from someone else in this community who's already doing it or who can see what I thought I was seeing. So thank you for clarifying that. And the other word is clarity. There's a lot of beings that I work with who just want clarity around certain things. And I always, no, not always, but quite frequently I find that they already knew. Sometimes they didn't know. Sometimes I'll share things and they're like, I had no idea. But then 3 months later, I'll get an email and they'll say, I kind of knew, but I didn't realize. And, so part of what we're doing for each other is clarifying certain things. We're giving people feedback and it's becoming that reflection of, oh yeah, that's what's going on. Between the energies of the solstice and the energies of we've got going on planet, astrologically, all of the upgrades that are going on in the body, sometimes we just need that validation. A, that we're not crazy. B, that this is what I was feeling in my body. C, I am feeling, attachments. It's Wacky Wednesday, energies are everywhere. One of the common themes I've been seeing in session, but also just even in myself, is these attachments to the old way that we used to do things. Have you guys found this coming up again for you? The old way that the old group that we used to hang out with, the old habit patterns that we used to find soothing are no longer soothing. I've had quite a few people that have been distraught over having to move away from friends and family, that they just aren't in a place, they cannot be around them right now. And these beautiful light workers that I'm working with aren't necessarily in a place of, I can't be around them because they just don't get me. There's that too. Sometimes we feel that way. But some of it's just because we feel this need to not be around them. Not because we're in judgment or not because we don't like them, because we just need to be around us, or we need to be around people who get us. And that doesn't mean that's permanent, you guys. What I'm seeing is a lot of those people that we didn't think got us will start to get us at some point. Not that we need them to, right? Not that we need them to, but it's nice. It's nice to have that validation, that support. So if you don't feel like you're getting it, there's a huge community, if you haven't noticed, on Instagram and YouTube and Telegram. I haven't figured out how to create a channel on Telegram yet, and quite frankly, I haven't had the time. But there's lots of platforms that we can tap into to connect with other whatever we want to label them as, team supporters on the team Earth. Okay. I'm just going to sit with this for a moment. Oh, the closeness. So, I reach out to my fellow soul family sometimes when I'm going through these transitions. I still have moments that I'm like, hello, Wacky Wednesday. Am I losing it? Why am I seeing this? I had some validation on some things I was seeing on another person's video the other day that I saw, a few months ago. And I went, oh, all right, that finally, I got a little connection on that and it made sense. But this merge has created a closer, things don't seem so far away for some of us. For some of us, they seem really far away, and that's just the stage that we're in. For me, when I'm doing my work, channeling, writing, I say channeling, but really that's just opening to source, opening to higher levels of consciousness, more expansive levels of consciousness, opening more to more of who I am, right? Who I am already that I've forgotten. I find that there's this, sometimes it's so close that we're not really sure if it's us or if it's a higher self. And I want to talk about that a little bit from my perspective. Part of what we're doing, from what I see, is we are integrating and bringing back to oneness, so we're not as scattered. This multidimensional aspect that we are is coming back into a less scattered energy. So we have more tools at our disposal and available to us for use that may have seemed impossible, incomprehensible, so far away before. In addition to that, for you fellow channelers out there, we're all channelers, we're all healers, we're all empaths, but for those of you who have kind of chosen to have this as your path, it's closer. Doesn't it feel like that for some of you? I know for some it feels very far away. I go through those days too, where I have to go with the flow and say, maybe today I have to reschedule because I'm integrating something and I'm not in a place where I feel that I can give 100% to my fellow humans that I'm working with. And you guys might have to do that sometimes too. You might have to do that as a massage therapist, body work. You may have to do that as a teacher. You may have to do that as any career path that you're in, to give our bodies a chance to integrate whatever's happening. But especially for those of us that are on that path, or that are consciously choosing to be part of this, I don't even know what to label it as anymore, but you know what I mean. So when I'm sharing these messages that are coming through, hey mama, I had a baby bird fall out of the nest twice in the last 2 days. I'm not sure if the mom's kicking the baby out. I feel like that's very symbolic. Or if the nest is just really kind of a crappy nest. It really is not a good nest. I do think that's very symbolic, by the way, which I might break down a little bit later. So I helped to reinforce the nest that this young mother is not, she just did a terrible job at building this nest. Some people say, don't mess with nature. And I say, well, we've already messed with nature. So we might as well help it out a little bit if we have the ability to, right? But there is that element of just let it, if it's in front of you, right? I love the fact that Jason Estes says that if it's in front of you, and it's in front of me, right? So I'm going to help it. I lost my squirrel. Train of thought. Surprise, surprise. Wacky Wednesday. So it's closer to us, right? So when I'm doing what I call channeling, it used to be I'd get into this like rhythm and I'd have to do all of this toning and I'd have to really kind of match the frequency. And from my perspective, have we raised our frequency enough that we're closer to it? Or has everything shifted so much that source is able to come in and get closer to us? And I would say both, right? Oh boy. Hanging on to old habit patterns is still a theme that's coming up, not only in the collective, not only in session, and for myself as well. And this habit pattern can be the way that we communicate with spirit. I've talked about this before, but I feel like it's relevant to bring up again. Things happen in cycles, they get brought up again, and essentially, I used to feel that I had to follow this pattern in order to be, you know, am I doing this right, basically? Okay, I'm going to write out what the message that's coming through with who I'm working with. And then I'm going to send them the channeled writing. And then I'm going to do some toning. Then I'll do some light language or maybe a channeled message that comes through. Then I might have them ask me questions. And then that morphed into me just asking them the right questions. And then that morphed into none of that and just holding space for someone to work in integrating because we're having a conversation about it. And then that shifted. So it's constantly changing. And finally, I'm just like, I guess I'm just going to go with the flow. And my higher guidance team, AKA me, is like, yeah, that's what we've been trying to tell you the whole time. So I bring up Cryon a lot because he said, you don't know what you don't know. And Cryon also said, what if your guides are you? What if these guides that you're asking questions are you in the future? And that, I say that, have said this before, like blew my mind. And I was like, no, that's wah-wah, right? But now I'm recognizing it. I'm realizing that the reason that it feels closer is because we're integrating all of these aspects of us. We're embodying them. That's part of what we're doing in this cycle. So as we embody these aspects of us, we remember experiences that we've had in previous cycles of time or units of time in which we were the same soul. But I also feel like we're able to tap into, because everything is connected, even though we're in our own little bubble, other units when those other beings are offering that to share. So it becomes more of a shareable energy, right? Dan Winter talks about this. Shareable wave. When we have those goosebumps, right? We're having something that we can share with the collective. So I might be tapping into what I've learned from a previous lifetime on Earth, or not, on planet or off planet. I might be integrating something from the future. Now, there's the rain. But at the same time, I might be also tapping into a collective energy that is a match for where I'm at. So if I'm matching that frequency, and that shared DNA activation is something that I can utilize as a part of the collective experience, then so be it. If that makes sense. I'm not sure if that makes sense, the way I explained it. So again, it's coming back to that oneness. And if it isn't a match, it's going to feel like it isn't a match. And it's something, or it might be information that I receive, for example. Some of the traumas maybe I've experienced in previous lifetimes, I might see them, recognize them, feel them, and then go, okay. Doesn't mean I have to go back and relive that experience. Doesn't mean I have to relive it to integrate it. If that makes sense. Hopefully that does. So it's a lot, you guys. It's a lot. It's so easy and so simple at certain times, and other times it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? What else has been coming through? The way that we're accessing codes has changed too, and not judging necessarily. What I'm hearing is where those codes are coming from, because there was this idea that you couldn't tap into certain things because it was. I'm trying to say this in such a way that it isn't a trigger for certain people. So for example, let's say you lived a lifetime where you were a warrior, and you may not have been, you were completely polarized in duality, and you were not living to your highest potential. And essentially you did some naughty things. And now you are remembering that lifetime. You're dreaming about it, you're feeling it, you're not sure why you're tapping into these energies. That doesn't mean there isn't value in that particular lifetime. So I'm seeing, don't look at me, I'm hideous. Like not wanting to look at that and just saying, okay, I'm integrating and I never want to do that again, doesn't give us the full nutrients and nutritional value that's there for us to integrate, digest fully. Because just because you had a lifetime of war doesn't mean that there weren't nuggets held within that lifetime that are now available. So it's like don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. We're getting a little bit of both. So if we can just be in a place of, right? Yeah, that's there, but so is this. We let go of the need to judge that particular experience as bad or good, or as wrong or right. We begin to judge it as an energetic experience that is now wishing to integrate so that we don't have to be stuck in a loop of reliving it and creating those old habit patterns over and over again just to integrate the nutrients that we received from the experience. So that's coming up a lot for a lot of people, myself included. Okay, so I'm going to kind of end on that note, I think. And maybe I'll just end until I run out of time with a little light language solar plexus sound healing. I got the cardinals here joining us. Oh, okay, I'm being guided to say one more thing about this. Some of us are connecting with ancestors that have passed on. And a lot of us already were, right? We're connecting with these beings, these ancient beings, the grandmothers and the tribes that were in our DNA. And that's where this light language comes through, future and past. So technically those beings are still alive, right? Because they're existing. There is no time. I won't go too detailed into that, but let's say you're connecting with a previous ancient lineage of trees. You're connecting with the elementals from prehistoric times, way back when. Because there's no time, you're connecting with it now, and you're feeling those energies. Does that mean those energies are still alive? Well, they are through you because you're sharing that energy. You're connecting, you're opening to that, right? From that perspective. Now, let's talk about our ancestor beings. Oops, I'm running out of battery. I had to move my phone. I'm sitting in my dog bed. Need a little cushion here. So if we're talking to these ancient ancestors that are tribal, they're in our DNA, they're in our blood, they've already moved on, right? But they're connecting to us through this fabric, okay, that we're all connected to. So wouldn't that make sense that we can also connect to those that have passed on more recently? And I'm sharing this because I have a feeling that this is going to start happening for some of you out there. Not everybody wants to do this. This is a choice from my perspective. So you can choose to. And everybody has different beliefs on this, right? Different concepts of what that looks like and what that means. And so I just want to share that I've been doing it. I've really been enjoying it. It's been very emotional for me. I'm still in the very beginnings of it. I'm not going to start doing sessions to tap in and connect with other people's loved ones as of yet. I have a dear sister who I've worked with named Jody who does that. That's her calling, her choice. So if you're looking for that, I'll be happy to connect you guys. That's not to say I won't someday. And it's not to say that if I do a session with someone or I'm working with someone, that's not going to come through, because it has. I've connected with a few people and I'll say something and it's that person has passed on. It's a grandmother or an uncle or whoever it might be. It doesn't happen a lot, but so I wanted to share that because some of these new things that are coming online for us are like, what is happening? It can be a little unnerving at times. So just relax. If it's not something that you're choosing to experience, then you can easily choose not to, and you can say no. You have the power. We're taking our sovereignty back. You have the power to connect with what and who and what energies you want to connect with. But, you know, I'm just inviting, kind of sharing what I'm seeing in my world, not to be afraid of it. Okay, if you're in your heart, if you haven't done the work, you're really just, you know, I wouldn't say, you know, you really want to make sure you're in your heart, because otherwise if you have an integrated fear, then it's going to show up for you in those times. Okay. My cord won't fit over there. And I'm just going to run out of room. So I'm going to say goodbye now. I'll just let this run. Okay, I had to move back a little bit, give some space. Just a little energy to connect in with if you choose to connect in with the energies that we're anchoring. I'm going to do a part 2.